So what actually is an etch? An etch is a token, and in our case it's a non-fungible token, an NFT. The NFT word often scares a lot of people, but what that basically means is that this particular block of evidence cannot be changed. It's immutable. And once it's gone through the blockchain, it is now transparent, immutable, secure, and safe. But that still begs the question of what actually is an etch? And it's what we get asked all the time. Let's break it down. An etch is effectively a mirror image of your asset in a digital format that is online, that has been verified. Okay, it has been agreed that this is a representation of your work. And in doing so, that can now be used in various ways. And obviously through a decentralized system, it means transferring it, moving it around, proving it, and independently being able to see it is what it is. So copyright is an intangible asset. And as an intangible asset, it's really difficult to quantify and understand where and what it is and how to use it properly. By tokenizing an intangible asset, you almost bring it down from the clouds and give it a peg, you give it something to hang off. And in this way, you can transfer it, it becomes something that's valuable in its own right. So how do we use an etch? There's multiple user cases for etches. The first one being that we can consolidate and create an asset library. So if you're an artist, it's all of your artwork. If you're a musician, it's your lyrics, your music, your riffs, your artwork. All of those kind of things can all go into these asset libraries. And when you etch them onto the blockchain, you solidify them. You solidify them in time, and it makes them very, very tangible. Now, when it comes to consolidating your assets into a valuable portfolio, you now have something that can't be changed, and that has a lot more value to it as well. If you just had a spreadsheet full of your assets and someone came to value them, A, you would need to prove they was yours, and B, you could just change them, you can move them around, they're very, very flexible. But with an asset library that is etched onto the blockchain, it is what it is, and it has that immediate value because of that reason. An etch can also be used as a singular block of evidence to support your claim over the ownership of your intellectual assets. If, for example, you were in a situation where someone had used your work and then said it was theirs, you would be able to present your etch, which would be immutable evidence of and timestamping and verified that you have created what you've created when you say you've created it. Now, historically, that's not been the case. We've been able to use letters and emails and digital certificates, but they all have the ability to be changed. Nowadays, it's very, very easy. It doesn't take much for a coder to just quickly change the metadata on a photo or on a piece of music. It's too simple nowadays in the technological age we are in, and people do that. We know that what can go wrong will go wrong. So you need that gold standard piece of evidence that is going to stand the test of time and be immutable in court as to saying that you created your evidence first. Now, this evidence block, as well as being able to claim against infringement, can also protect you against someone claiming that you infringed on them. And this is why we call it an independent creation mechanism. It's almost like a fossil record of what you've done and when you've done it. So there's nothing worse than someone pointing the finger at you and saying, hold on, you've stolen my idea. When you've sat at home and you've come up with that idea, okay, that intellectual property is yours. It's come from your creativity, and then someone says that it's theirs. By showing your fossil record of your etches, you can then prove that you got there first, that you created that first. You might not be able to necessarily stop them from creating what they want, but you've certainly protected yourself, and it allows you to continue to create whatever it is that asset was. As we mentioned earlier, copyright is self-custodial. You need to prove that you did it first. No one's going to come to help you. And when it comes to someone pointing the finger at you, that becomes more valuable than ever. We also mentioned earlier that historically it's not been very cost effective to go through a lawyer, go through a law firm, or create an NFT to secure your work at scale. Now, because of the scalability, not only can we show that independent creation, that we can show that proof of timestamping, and we can show that creative process, we can also amend with ease. Say you've created something, you just want to tweak it ever so slightly. Now that tweak might need to go through a lawyer, and you might need to use a copyright or a trademark attorney just to kind of authenticate that last little change. But with Etched, you can just go straight on and go, right, okay, this is the next version. This is the next adaptation of what I've done, and just create those amendments with ease and security using our platform. The independent creation element of Etched also lends itself towards patents, and we call it our partial patent protection. Now, a patent, as we've mentioned earlier, is an invention or technology, and someone's got to the point where they've registered that patent and it is now theirs. If, however, you had been working on the same technology or the same invention independently, the fact that you've been etching and showing that fossil record of what you've done up to date, you're not necessarily, again, going to be able to kind of close down what they're doing, but you will be able to continue to develop your project and your creations without the fear of being taken down yourself. We often get asked, how can we use Etched to monetize our assets? Now, there's many ways. Now, we are looking at an aftermarket. So when it comes to actually trading your IP, so once you've created your asset library, you will be able to trade seamlessly using a decentralized service between peers. In that way, you'll be able to trade, earn money for selling your IP. Not just selling your IP, but we could also be in a licensing situation where you can license your IP out, be it music, artwork, animation, whatever it is, you can license that out for a fee, and it's all done swiftly, online, very simply, and it means that a lot more of those proceeds will go directly to the creator themselves. Etching can be used in collaborations as well. We've seen situations where you will have two artists that are working on a song together and want to be very clear and transparent as to who did what. Now, by etching your contributions to that song, or let's say technology, between two companies or between two universities that are working on a project, if you want to show that transparency as to who's done what in etching that tally system, at the end of the project, it will be far clearer who's done what and who gets what when it comes to the end of that project.